Welcome to Heart on the Altar, a podcast where nothing is withheld and it's all for His glory. I'm your host, Brittani, and today, guys, you will not believe it. I actually have a guest, and this guest I like, okay? Who brings guests onto their show that they don't like? I'm not really sure. But today's guest is Melissa. Melissa is a funny story. So Melissa and I met because we actually go to church together. So you might know like Melissa McCarthy or some really famous Melissas. I don't know them, but this Melissa is very famous to me. Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
We're excited. This is actually my first time here on Heart of the Altar. If you're a regular listener, having a guest. So if you could imagine us getting ready for today, it was kind of fun. And I dropped all the camera, the microphone went somewhere. I knocked down a picture, but here we are.
She said that she does that every time, though. So
yes,
I just got to watch her do it.
Hi, I knew she was going to tell on me. I don't know about that. I shouldn't have told her.
Hey, we have a long way to go, you guys.
Well, today's conversation, why I needed Melissa here. I don't know about you, but it's hard to trust other women.
Yeah.
It's hard to trust people in general. And we talk a lot on Heart on the Altar about even trusting God. And often how I saw that I didn't trust God was also not trusting him in friendships and relationships. And I wasn't looking for no friend. Okay. Melissa came to my church, and through hearing her story and her heart, I literally am like, you're just awesome. I truly do also enjoy people who have like hard stories because I'm like, I have a hard story. So I don't feel like alone. Like I don't feel like the odd one out, the weird one.
Right.
Have you ever felt like that? Like you tried to tell your story to someone and it felt almost like, oh, I don't think they get it.
Yeah, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't feel that with Melissa.
Yeah.
Actually, I call her and she's like, that was dumb. You probably shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, you're right. Or she's the first one to reach out to pray. And what I love about Melissa's heart is she is a go-getter, but she really does it out of the abundance of she loves the people she's serving. And so why I wanted her to come on is one, because when we talk, we could go for hours. We can talk about the goodness of God and tracing his footsteps when we surrender our life. And so we're taking a pause from Colossians. So we've been doing Colossians, but today we're going to actually get into John chapter 4. In John chapter 4, it's when we're talking about Jesus meets a woman in Samaria at the well. Okay, so we'll get into that, but I want to first hear from Melissa. Sorry, it's my first time having a guest, so I don't know if I should have had you talk more in the beginning, but tell us a little bit just how you grew up. Like, you don't have to, however much you want to share, but like a 2-minute, who is Melissa? What's your last name? What's your birthday? Let me send you a gift. I don't know, but
Okay, so I was born all the way back in the 1900s. Just kidding. And so, just kidding. So in the 80s, and my parents were not together, but they both raised me in church. So my mom and dad both made sure that I was fed, the truth. And I was baptized when I was 15. There were bumpy roads in between that time, but when I was 15, I was baptized, and at that moment, I really thought that I was going to get it, Like I was like, oh, I felt this.
Wow.
I know God's gonna be there for me, and I'm gonna change my ways, and I was starting to do like a lot of things that like teenagers do. They get into hanging out maybe with the wrong crowd or doing the wrong things, and so I really took this as I'm going to change my life. And I was at a church camp, and I didn't change my life when I came back from church camp. That literally the next week, I was just back hanging out with the friends, doing the same things, and it was because I didn't have the right people around me at that time. I think if I would have had people or friends that were going to church or anything,
community.
yeah, but I didn't have anybody. And I actually went to this church camp with my dad's church, so it was a whole nother city, a whole nother
Wow.
place. So I just didn't. I ended up living a really, really, like, crazy life.
Wow.
Got into drugs, I got into, illegal activity, at 21 years old, I found myself in prison because
Wow.
I was hanging out with the wrong people. I was doing drugs. I was trying to make money so that I could, get my next high. And I ended up in prison, and I did 9 months in prison.
Yeah.
So I was in Chowchilla State Prison, and
Wow.
um, I found God there again, like
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh, when I get out of here, I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to do all the things." And I
Wow.
did. I got my life together. I did all the things, but then, I found myself back in the world and back trying to um keep up with what
Mhm.
was going on around me, that I fell back into alcohol at a later age. So
Wow.
I raised kids, I got married, we, had a good life, but a lot of it was like going partying, doing stuff, like going camping, doing all of those type of things.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
so I don't know where to
No,
go
I
with
love
that.
that. For one, I mean, my brain was literally like on overload. I'm like, first of all, I'm absolutely obsessed with your story. Why? Because one, it's like the thread that like God was meeting you, even at the moments where you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. And it serviced you, right? So
Yeah.
like it gave you a little and then you went your way.
Yeah. It's crazy because, what I've been thinking lately is that God has been with me ever since, I mean, since I was a little girl, obviously, but
Yeah.
when I got baptized, that was me, like, actually asking God to, like, seriously protect me, because there was gonna be a lot of things,
Yeah.
and I don't think if I would have asked him for that, if I wouldn't have gotten baptized at that moment, who knows if I would have made it, if I wouldn't have
Mhm.
been protected in a way that I was all those years.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I've always loved God. But I've always said the thing, this is what I've always said. God and we got this relationship. I don't have to go to church. I don't
Oh,
have to
some
read the
of you have said this.
Bible.
Yes.
I
Uh-huh.
don't have
Uh-huh.
to do anything, because
Mm.
we've got this. He knows me, I know him. But
Wow.
like, I'll tell you what, like, once we get into like my real surrender, I didn't know God at all. I didn't know him.
Wow.
He knew me. He was like, "Girl,
Mm.
I know you. I know you."
Mm.
But I didn't know him. I didn't know him at all
Wow.
until I fully surrendered.
I literally just am like, wow, wow, wow. Because some of us jokers, okay, we are like, no, I know God.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You know his name.
Yeah.
You did accept salvation, right? And we talk a lot about on here on Heart on the Altar is that salvation is not the end goal with God. Like that is the beginning of a
Yeah.
relationship. And you do have his protection once you become his child, but we do reap what we sow as well. Like
Absolutely.
there's so many things that it's like, one, I'm like, prison. I wouldn't survive. Okay. There's so many
I wouldn't survive anymore. I'm like,
I'm too
I go walking through like my old stomping grounds, and I'm like watching my back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and it's crazy because like just the other day I was walking in like downtown Riverside, and I'm like watching my back, looking everywhere, like, and before I was like, I mean, I was like, I wasn't afraid of anything.
Yeah.
I was just like whatever, and now I'm just and it's
So
because the world is
interesting.
so
Yeah.
different now,
Mm,
through different eyes.
yeah.
My perspective about like what could happen, or what
That's
is
good.
happening, is completely different.
Mm.
But
Your
I mean,
truth too. Like what was your truth then that you followed? Like, when everyone's like, it's your truth. So your truth was this was my reality. Like this is what I needed to do to get to where I was going.
well, when you're roaming with the devil, you're not afraid of the devil.
Say it again.
And now that I'm not roaming with the devil, I'm seriously afraid of that guy.
You guys, I need her here all the time. I'm like, "Hi, that is insane." That is, like, the truest statement, and we wonder why when we're complacent and we don't want God, what are we having? What are we filling ourselves
Yeah.
with? We are not obviously, I was just said it maybe 2 weeks ago, I've been repeating it. If you're not going forward, where are you going?
Yeah.
And you do have when we serve a king, when we if we really acknowledge how good God is, if we really acknowledge what he requires of us, we would act differently.
Yeah,
And so you were acting of who you were following.
exactly. And
Wow.
and and I wasn't too afraid because I knew that, like, nothing serious was gonna happen because I was doing exactly what
Mm,
he wanted me to do.
wow.
You know? So, um, now I'm like, "Okay, I don't wanna be," and don't get me wrong, I'll go to those places because those places are where I'm needed. You know,
Yeah.
my story, them knowing that I came from there too
Yeah.
is very important. So it's
Mhm.
still important for me to feel confident to be able to go there, but with a different type of protection. You know,
Mhm.
I'm safe, there's boundaries. God teaches
Yes,
you some
yes,
boundaries.
yes.
Like, we think that Jesus just, like, went everywhere and did everything, and that's not true. Because
Mhm.
he knew, like, his boundaries of where to go, just like in this book of, John
Mhm.
for, the Samaritan woman, like, it says in there, it literally says he, like, needed to go there.
Yeah,
He needed to go there.
that is a natural let's move to the text because what I love about the text and where we're going to go with Melissa's story is I want to hear the spoiler alert. The Samaritan woman, when she finds Jesus, it is like, it is one of the most beautiful experiences because when someone really grabs a hold of this truth, when you hit a rock bottom that you're like, I can't climb out of this without you. Like I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah,
That type of desperation, and we can have it no matter if you struggle with drug addiction, depression, um, pride, all of those, we can get so low because that's what his word promises. Without him, we are
yeah.
nothing, right? In this story, it literally just shines God's glory, and he went out of his way to encounter this woman. So, let's read the text and then, we'll get into it, and it's a chunky text, so stay with me. If you don't, go read John 4, okay? Alright, so John chapter 4. When Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard he was sorry. First of all, let me just actually I know this is not important, but I ain't wearing glasses, guys. I got contacts on.
It is important. Look,
It is
I'm wearing glasses and
so
I'm super
wild.
jealous. I was like, "So you're not wearing glasses?"
I literally was
I
like
tried to take mine off and I'm like,
I was just reading right now. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can see. I don't have glasses on. I can
"I'm
still
so
see."
excited for you."
Okay, now let's get back to the important part, but you're welcome for that, okay? No glasses
They're all
Brittany today.
clapping for you right
I
now. They're like,
Oh my gosh. Thank you, my few followers. Okay, John chapter 4. When Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard he was making and baptizing more disciples than John, though Jesus himself was not baptizing, but his disciples were, he left Judea and went again to Galilee. He had to travel through Samaria, so he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the property that Jacob had given his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, worn out from his journey. First of all, if Jesus was worn out, you probably are too if you're walking and doing a bunch of stuff. So, this from a workaholics, go sit your butt down. Okay. Jesus, worn out from his journey, sat down at the well. It was about noon. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Give me a drink, Jesus said to her, because his disciples had gone into town to buy food. How is it that you, a Jew, ask for a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? She asked him. For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. Jesus answered, if you knew the gift of God and who is saying this to you, give a drink, you would ask him and he would give you living water. And then she goes on, she's like, sir, the well's deep and you don't have anything to pick. I should have just read it, but I'm giving you a little digest. You don't have anything to carry it. And then Jesus says, everyone who drinks from this water will get thirsty again. But whoever drinks from the water that I give him will never get thirsty again. In fact, the water I give him will become a well of water springing up from him for eternal life. Sir, this woman said to him, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and come here to draw water. Jesus said, go and call your husband and come back here. I don't have a husband, she answered. You have said correctly. I don't have a husband, Jesus said, for you have had 5 husbands, and the man that you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true. Sir, she replied, I see that you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews say that the place of worship is in Jerusalem. He told her, Believe me, woman, an hour is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You, you're, your Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know because salvation is from the Jews. But an hour is coming and is here now when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Yes, the Father wants such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those worshiping him must worship in spirit and truth. And so then she gets a revelation. He says, The Christ is coming, the Messiah is coming. And he says, Jesus told her, I, the one speaking to you, am he. So let me pause. Why does this story, what does this even mean? Jesus is traveling. He goes way, way, way out of his way to go and meet this woman in Samaria. And he knew she was going to be there. At noon, no one was drawing water at the heat of the day. She was going there to hide because her story was, she was, what is the word I'm looking for? It was rough.
She had a rough
She
life.
had a rough life. And, the village people were probably gossiping, and she felt some type of way about herself, as we all do as we're living in sin. And Jesus went out of her way. And also, not only living in sin, because we don't know why all her husbands left her, like why she had 5 husbands. We don't know that historical context. So, but what we do know is that when Jesus met her, what he was basically telling her is, I can give you salvation. You don't have to keep hiding. You can be fulfilled by me. I am what you are thirsty for, what you're looking for in all of these men, where you're looking for in this silence and by yourself, getting water from this well. I can give you more than that. And not only is Jesus telling her that, he also tells her, and I know who you are. I know what you've done. And I still want you. I still want to give you this new life. I want to give you myself. And then he doesn't stop there. Then she starts asking historical questions, right? She starts asking the questions in her context, like, well, what about this? And what about this? And he's like, oh, girl, let me tell you, trust in me. Trust in what I'm telling you. I am the Messiah. Jesus, this is when he first reveals himself that he is coming. Like he is the Messiah, the one that everyone has been waiting on. And so now I'm fast forwarding because I'm not trying to read y'all the whole chapter. You can read yourself. So now fast forwarding. Then it's verse 27. Just then the disciples arrived and they were amazed that he was talking to a woman. Remember, women were nothing in this time. Yet no one said, What did you want? Or why are you talking with her? Then the woman left her water jar, went into the town, and told people, Come and see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah? And as it goes on, it talks about how people in that village came to know Jesus. So when I approached Melissa about talking about this story, I literally was like, Melissa, we have to talk about the woman at the well, because when you talk, literally what you're saying is like, come and see about a man. Come and meet this Jesus. You don't necessarily have like all the theological like definitions, but you say, this is what he rescued me from.
Yeah.
And Melissa's life now, what God is doing, that's what looks like when someone dwells. When someone really believes that they have been saved and redeemed, when they really believe that Jesus is the Messiah, I'm like, that's what we need to talk about. So, Melissa, even reading and sitting with the woman of the well, what are you reading? What are you seeing when you have read through that?
Um, it's it's like when you finally get that Jesus's voice, when you can finally hear it, it's you have to tell about it. Like, it's
Mhm.
one of those things where, my testimony or my story of when I surrendered was when I had gotten my whole life together. Like, I literally quit drinking, I quit partying, I quit
And
doing
this is all
anything.
without God, right?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
all so in where are we at? 2026. So
Yeah.
let's go back to 2019.
Okay.
2019, I was heavily drinking. My kids have all moved out. They're all adults. So it's just my husband and I. And I started feeling like I don't wanna drink anymore, right? I don't wanna
Mm.
do this anymore, I don't wanna party anymore, but the more I wanted to stop, the more partying we did.
Wow.
Um, so we end up having, from 2019 to 2020, 2020, COVID happens, and that's kind of when everybody who wasn't really drinking started drinking,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, you're
And
right.
so a lot of people started drinking heavily more during COVID, and, that is when I decided that I was gonna quit.
Wow.
So, I had a blackout. Like, had a really bad blackout, and I woke up the next day, and I checked myself into rehab,
Wow.
and when I checked myself into rehab, um, I had this feeling, like,
Mm.
it was a weird feeling that I knew it was time, like, I knew this was the moment. I knew that there was
Mhm.
something different about this, and I went through the rehab, and I went through everything, and when I got home, because I only did 30 days, so when I got home, though, I started feeling like I needed to help people
Mm.
in a way that I never felt before. A lot of people on social media were going through a lot of things because COVID was happening,
Yeah.
and I started to reach out to a lot of different women, and people were having, really hard times. There was a lot of depression and a lot of like suicidal things going on. I had lost a couple of my friends
Mhm.
previously to suicide, and so I really just started focusing on what people were asking. They just needed people. They needed help. They needed
Yeah.
love. And I feel like this is where God like really started to change my story. But I didn't know
Mm.
God at the time. Like I like I said, I was grew up with God, but I pushed him aside. He was not in the picture. He was not part of my daily.
Yeah.
It probably was 6 months that I had been even prayed,
Wow.
and so I uh I quit drinking. I started helping people on social media, and I started helping a lot of people on the internet, and I started working through like a music community on Facebook, because there's a lot of different groups and stuff.
Yeah.
So I started just like talking to people in these certain groups, and I ended up getting involved in a music community, and that music community ended up being something very special to me. I started really focusing on wanting to help people get out of their comfort zone and start making different changes and start because now at this point I'm sober now. I haven't been drinking. Now I'm 30 days, now I'm 60 days, now I'm 90 days, and I want to help inspire people, and I start being, like I go on and I start talking, taking videos on
Mhm.
Facebook and telling people how they can, not drink, and now I've got people who are following me and not wanting to drink too, and I start getting a following on social media, and I start to really feel good about myself, right? I'm
Mm.
I'm feeling like, "Oh, look at me. I'm so great.
Yeah.
All this self-help, all these things." And, I start getting involved in a lot of the social media stuff. I start doing a lot of things outside of social media, and without getting into too much, because
Mhm.
I've made a vow that I won't talk too much about what transpired in my life, um because people are involved, and that's
Yeah.
not fair to talk about other people when they're not around. And so I ended up going into business with somebody. It ended up falling apart after 3 years of us working really hard.
Wow.
I had a podcast, I had a production company, we were interviewing bands. I thought it
Wow.
was super cool. Like I was
I
like,
love that.
I mean, I literally was like, "Oh my gosh, look how cool I am. I'm so amazing." And all of these people love me. Like I have a group on Facebook, and there's 4,000 women in there,
Wow.
and I'm helping people, and I'm helping people in a way that like I wouldn't help people. It wasn't like how I would help people. It was like a different version of me, right?
Mhm.
But I was still taking all this credit. I was still being very look at me, look at all the things I'm helping
Mm,
people
mhm,
with,
mhm.
and so it started to get to the point though where the helping people um wasn't the important thing anymore. It was where I was gonna take this whatever I was doing to the next
Mhm.
level,
Yeah.
and how I was gonna get maybe more famous or more important, or
Mm.
and so, it started to get like that, I believe, between everybody involved. And so it started to fall apart, and people started to get upset and angry with each other. And my life started to get very, very hectic because my husband wasn't liking what I was doing. And then the business partner and I weren't doing right. And so everything felt very intense. And I felt very overwhelmed because this was literally the first time in my life that I was doing everything right. Like, I wasn't
Wow.
drinking, I
Wow.
wasn't partying, I was
That's
putting
good.
everything into it. I was like, and I was just like, "This is ridiculous. Why is everything falling apart? I'm doing everything I'm
I
supposed to
love it.
do."
Yeah.
Right? And so, it really got so bad to where I started having some medical issues. I started having some anxiety, and I started getting suicidal, and it got really bad. It got really bad, and I was just helping everybody, and I felt like everybody just needed something, and I was
Yeah.
like pulled and stretched every direction, and I literally wanted to die. Like, I was
Wow.
like, I'm at and I've been in some serious bad places in my life. Like,
Wow.
I've been like living on the streets, like living
Yeah.
in a tent,
Wow.
and I didn't want to die. Like, but this was like, seriously, I thought, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Why do I feel like this? Why am
Wow.
I so empty?
Wow.
And so I did. I begged God to take my life. I laid in bed one night and I begged him. I said, "God, I've been here long enough. I've been through enough.
Wow.
Please take me. Please just end it. Just everybody's always mad. Like, everybody's always like pulling at me, and I'm literally doing the best that I've ever done. Like, why are people angry still?" And instead, I'm laying there and I won't go into the whole thing because sometimes people think that kind of stuff's crazy, but like, I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden I could literally, my eyes are open and I could see like a big black cloud. Like, literally, it's dark. So obviously, it's in the dark. So it's not like light. And I'm like, oh my God, a dark cloud. But
Yeah.
it literally felt like this big dark cloud getting closer and closer and closer to me. And I
Mhm.
could like feel myself slowly suffocating,
Wow.
and all of a sudden, I just heard this little like voice, like, find a Bible study. Like, just a
Wow.
little tiny, tiny, like, in my brain at that time was like, oh, that was me thinking,
Mhm.
like, oh,
That's
look at
good.
me thinking so great.
Yeah.
And that little thought right there of find a Bible study, I think, is exactly what like changed everything.
Wow.
Um, I have like 5 more minutes of this story, so
No, that was
yeah.
I literally was, like, sucked in, so you
Yeah.
coulda kept going. I'm, like,
So
near crying. I'm, like, "Oh my gosh."
I know, I'm
I
like, I don't
I've
wanna
heard this
cry though.
story
Oh my gosh.
before, and it's
Yeah.
just God's sovereignty. Like, because I can see it's not even the end of the story. I can see the redemption of the story, so I
Yeah.
get to experience the blessing of the redemption.
Yeah.
So, like, listening to it, I'm, like, I remember the conversations we had in the beginning, and I'm, like, com yeah, anyways, continue on.
Yeah.
Keep going. Come on.
So I did. I reached out because at that time, like, social media was like my big thing. Like, I did everything on Facebook, right?
Mhm.
So I reached out on like one of the city buzzes or whatever, and I was like very specific because I'm a very specific person when I want
Yeah,
something,
I
but
love it.
it has to be exactly perfect. Like, I'm really spoiled in a way that I'm like, nope, if it's not like that, then I can't do it, right? Because
Wow.
at this point, I'm being selfish. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, if I'm going to find a Bible study, then I need it to be this, 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 right? So I need it to be on Wednesdays. I need it to be in your Belinda. I need it to be at 6:30 p.m. Like, 6:30 p.m. Somebody writes on there and they're like, "Oh, there's and his name," and I really want to say his name cuz he's super awesome. His name is Mike Fox, and he is probably like he doesn't even realize. He
Wow.
doesn't even realize how big of a part he played.
That invitation.
It makes me wanna cry because that guy
Wow.
responded, he didn't know me. He responded and he said, "I think my neighbor has a Bible study on Wednesdays. Here's her name." And then
Wow.
so he hooks me up with the church that Brittany goes to. And one of the ladies who does a Bible study on Wednesdays, and I got a hold of her and I went to her Bible study. So that was in October of 2023.
Wow.
Okay. So October 23, I go to Bible study. Um, it's a 6 week,
Yeah, like
like
6 to
maybe
10
6
weeks,
weeks.
yeah, mhm.
And in that 6 weeks, these women um prayed over me, put their hands on me.
Mm,
I told them my story, how broken I was, how like I was still holding all of these things together and I just felt like letting it go, but I didn't want to lose everything I had worked so hard for. And I
wow.
knew like the minute I like said what needed to be said, I wasn't it was all going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And so they prayed over me the very last session and things just started changing in my life. I started to like not really want to be around the concert scene, not really want it to be around the the fame. Um,
Mm,
felt like I was being used and manipulated in many different ways. I started to see different perspectives of different things
wow.
that
Wow.
had been falling apart for quite a while that I just was blind to because
Mhm.
I wanted this so badly.
Yeah.
Um, definitely, I realized that in that time that I wanted this so bad that I was willing to, like, literally give up my whole life for it,
Mm,
to be famous, to be known, to be an inspiration to people to know my name,
wow.
um, that I knew so that's October. December 26th, I go to work that day. We went to record a podcast and everything was off. From the moment I walked in there, I knew like inside I was like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
Wow.
And I was trying so hard like to not feel that way. And it was just a weird feeling in me that
Yeah.
I was just
Wow.
like, this is the wrong place. Like I was starting to get jittery and like feel weird and like get overwhelmed and something happened between me and the business partner and um I looked at her and I said we shouldn't be in business together anymore.
Wow.
And that is not something that I would have said because I was not willing to give up any of
Yeah.
this. This was I worked hard for this. This is what I worked hard for. I was doing the best I ever did.
Yeah.
This was mine. I worked hard for it. I
Wow.
deserved this, right? And I wasn't going to give it up. And so when those words came out of my mouth, I knew that that was my Samaritan woman moment
Mm,
where g Jesus came to me at that moment, and he gave me that opportunity.
yeah.
He gave me the opportunity, and when you said here that she left her
Her water
her
jug.
water
Yes.
jug, and
Everything.
she left,
Yeah.
and where it really hits me is that very moment right there,
Mhm.
that what I was building, what I thought was the most important thing in my entire life that I was willing to let everything else fall apart, that was my jug. That was my water jug.
Wow.
And I walked out of there and I never walked back there. Like, I mean, I had to go clean the place up when I left, but like,
It's like you have to pick up the stuff off
I
your
mean, I had
desk.
to
Yeah, yeah.
clean still, but yeah, I did go back
I mean,
like
yes, yes,
twice,
yeah.
but like I walked out of there and I drove home that day filled with the Holy Spirit
Mm,
in a way that I felt such a peace when I left there that I knew that that was not me and that I was okay and that
wow.
everything was going to be okay no
Wow.
matter what was going to happen out of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
I mean it wasn't okay. When everything fell apart, there was some terrible things that happened.
Yeah.
And there was some really really terrible things that happened to relationships, and people, decided they wanted to spread rumors and say things, and I was empty again. I mean, and that's where you and I
Mhm.
met. I
Wow.
met you in my emptiness when I came to you, just in some type of, like, I don't know. When I met with you, it was because you have a nonprofit
Yeah.
and I had a nonprofit,
Yeah.
and honestly, I needed somewhere to, like, donate money to,
Right.
and I didn't know anybody else in a nonprofit, and I wanted to hear all about your nonprofit because I felt like maybe that would be something that I could send your way.
Yeah.
And, I had to, I had to walk away from everything in a way that, it brought so many amazing things. Like,
Yeah.
when you and I met the first time and I told you my story, I didn't trust anybody.
Mm.
When you started this off today and you said, the trust thing and the
Yeah.
friend thing, and there was no way in a million years you and I were ever gonna be friends.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I just wanna donate my money." Like,
Mhm.
not my money, but the nonprofit money.
Yeah.
I want everything over. I want it to be, like, done with that,
Yeah.
and you and I sat down, and I thought about being, like, involved in your nonprofit and what you do, and I walked away from there going, "There's no way. There's no
Mhm.
way."
Mhm.
I struggled with that for a very long time, after our meeting, because
Yeah.
I was like, I can't get involved in anything again. Like, I
Mhm.
literally felt like everything I had ever wanted or hoped for, I just lost, and I was never gonna get anything back.
Wow.
That's that's where I was,
Uh,
and
yeah. I remember sitting across, we were at one of my favorite coffee shops and hearing Melissa's story. I just, like, truly, I was like, "Wow, this is a woman who." I told you guys my story. Just what was that? That was 23? I was a year from walking away from my dream, and to hear it from someone else, to hear, like, I was just on the other side of believing that God had something great, and he has restored something. I mean, 2026, that's so long ago. I'm like, "Good
it
God."
seems like a blink of an eye, but also there was
Yes.
so many things that happened.
And it felt like eternity when
Yeah,
you're, like, sitting in a problem. But what I loved about, like, as we've talked through this, a couple of things that jumped out at me. One, belief is just it's just not enough. You have to apply it. And also, when you believe and you still have an encounter with the Lord, that doesn't make everything right.
yeah,
The rightness that we have with Christ is being with him through the hard, messy junk, and the learning to trust him when you feel like he is letting everything crush you. And okay, Melissa might have told me no then for the nonprofit, but this woman, the influence God is allowing her to have. First of all, I didn't even know there was groups on Facebook. Okay, Facebook amazes me. I like was just a generation that Facebook was only. I'm like, I don't know. I was the what was it? The MySpace and all
yeah.
this other random things that never survived. Facebook was the only thing, and then Instagram. As soon as Instagram was there, I was here. So Melissa is a leader of leaders. There aren't many people that I'm impressed with, okay? And that's probably bad. Maybe I should like I just have a very strong opinion about a lot of things. Ask anyone that knows me.
I'm like,
But
I mean, it feels great to me. Go ahead, keep talking.
uh she is a leader of leaders, but what I love about how like even listening to your story again, it is not many people are willing to leave things that they love. Their idol. It's what their identity was built upon, and that being ripped, you don't understand until it's done to you. The devastating of like, "Well, who the heck am I now?
Yeah.
What does this look like? Was all this a waste? These passions that you give me, are they just gonna disappear? Do I have to live this boring Christian life? Like, what does that look like?" And that's why testimonies are important. That's
Yeah.
why the woman in Samaria had to run. She had to say, "This is how my life was changed," and that's why it's so important that we talk about those really messy middles of, "I didn't know how God was gonna get me through."
Yeah.
"You didn't know that." You would
No.
tell me all the time, like, "It still hurts." And I'm like, "Yes. Yeah, 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 mhm. Yeah, I'll be praying with you."
Yeah. No, it hurt for a long time. I mean, and the good thing is like, even now when I look back on things, it doesn't hurt like it hurt before.
Yeah.
Now I understand the why behind the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. It's like the example I heard, it's like when you're driving. God has a new destination, right? He's like, "Go ahead and sit in the passenger seat because you ain't driving.
Yeah.
We will drive into a ditch, as I've done before." Yeah, he's like, "Okay, you ready for me to sit in the driver's seat?" I'm like, "No, I still got it. Let me push the car out." That's literally my life with the Lord sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Oh, it is actually nicer to sit in the passenger seat." Well, when I'm in the passenger seat, I would get carsick if I just turned around and stared out the back window, right? Looking back at my old life. But when I choose to look forward, the idea of where we're going, it still is like, oh, I don't actually know the destination, but I'm safe with the driver, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want me constantly looking in the rearview mirror, looking back and, oh, this is the good old days. This is what I used to be. This hurts so bad, blah, blah. He said, no, 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 look forward.
Yeah.
We have somewhere to go. And not only as he's taking us somewhere, as we have our eyes forward, as we get to sit in safety, we get to sing in the midst of that. We get to worship, we get to praise, we get to learn more about God on the journey. And sometimes he'd be taking you through some dirt roads. There was some dark days that you were like, are you sure that you're there?
Yeah.
Are you sure that you're real? Those are the questions I ask myself. Like, do I really believe that you are God and you're going to bring me through?
Yeah.
And when you get to the other side of that, you get the fruit. Then Melissa, tell us what you are doing now. And I selfishly get to benefit off of the blessing of her saying yes to Jesus and completely saying, God, if you don't want it, I don't.
Yeah.
And being willing to walk away every single time. Entrepreneur mindset, she's got it. I don't. And she, like, no matter what, she always says, but I'm praying. And I feel like whatever God's going to have me, I'm going to do it. So tell us where's your life now? What are you doing? What are you involved in?
Yeah. So, after I walked out of there and I fell apart and my whole life fell apart and um I I decided that I was going to just give everything to God in a way that every time I make a decision, every time I allow somebody into my life, every time I do anything, I literally pray about it. I sit down and I really try to get God to speak to me in a way that I can actually like know that it's him because
Mhm.
I've allowed so many people into my life, so many things that I don't want to fall backwards again. So I you have to be very intentional every single day to put Jesus first. Like
Yeah.
that's like my number one thing is like on the days where I don't sit down in the morning and actually have some time with him,
Mhm.
I'm all over the place. I'm like,
Yeah.
what can I do? What can I make? What can I I'm like, oh wait, whoa, whoa. Let's talk about this, God. All right. So we'll go back. So the number one thing that I am doing is I am spreading the word of God
Amen,
wherever I
yeah.
go.
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to talk about what he's done for my life, what he continues to do for my life, what he's done for my marriage, my home,
Yeah.
my relationships. So when I was all about me,
Mhm.
all of my relationships were broken. Every
Mhm.
single one of them. My relationship with my husband, my relationship with my mom, um, my relationship with God, like all of them were broken. They were all just fighting and arguing and no understanding and since I've allowed God to make decisions in my life, he's helped me see different perspectives and see
Mm.
why certain things were happening and a lot of those things were because I had given up on the people around me.
Wow.
And I've learned that putting effort into the family, into your home, into making sure like something my mom used to always say is a house divided will fall.
Mm.
And I'm
Mhm.
sure that's maybe somewhere in the
Yeah.
Bible or
Mhm.
somewhere. And See, I don't know everything.
Somewhere in
It's
scripture.
somewhere in, like, at church, they say
Yes,
that,
yes,
right?
yes.
And so
I don't know where it is either, but I know it's somewhere in there.
it's somewhere, they say it. And so, it's true. It's super true. When my husband and I started actually putting an effort into going to church together, our entire marriage changed.
Wow.
When my mom and I started talking about God, our relationship changed. It wasn't her fault
Mm,
that we weren't talking about God. It was my fault we weren't talking about God. So the minute God like started giving me that ability to feel comfortable and confident
yeah.
with where he had me, um so I talk about Jesus everywhere. I Most importantly, the music community that I was involved with. I'm not involved with that anymore, but I have tons of the people as my friends on Facebook. And what's really, really cool is
Yeah.
there's many, many, many of them that are very interested in Jesus now
I
and
love
God
that.
and having a relationship with him. And I recently, about 2 months ago, started a Bible study uh, on Facebook
Yeah.
so that some of the people that were in that music community, we get together and we talk about Jesus and how he saved us and how our lives have changed.
Wow.
So I'm doing a Bible study on Facebook. Um, I I help a lot with the church now. I've found a home finally.
Mm,
Oh, and let me get back all the way to this because I feel like God took me from where I was and he placed me
yeah.
where I'm at this church.
Mm,
He was like, "I know that you've been going through all of this and I know that nobody understands you and I know that you can't talk to anybody." And he was like,
wow.
"Here, let me place you here." And he placed me where Brittany and where Jeff
Hmm.
both understand me. They like I could literally say anything to you or say anything to Jeff and you guys understand where I'm coming from. Like
Yeah.
the way our brains work in
Yeah.
this when when Jesus grabs a hold of you and he changes your whole life,
Correct. Yeah.
you have this different way of doing things
Hmm.
and a lot of people don't understand it.
Correct.
And so when I was in the world trying to do all of those things, nobody understood me. And even people would say like, "Oh, you need prayer? I'll have Melissa pray for you." Like and that's weird to me
Wow.
because like I need people who are like going to pray with me
Yeah.
and I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so God grabbed me and he was like, "All right, I know that life is going to be really hard and I know I'm going to take everything from you that you love, but I'm going to give you some people that are going to love you the way that you've
My
wanted to
gosh.
be loved
Yeah.
by the people around you."
Wow.
And
Wow.
and 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 he did. He brought me to a church where I feel loved
Yeah.
how I've been begging to be loved
Wow.
and it feels good. It feels like I'm finally in the place where I was supposed to be when I first quit drinking and I started feeling those feelings of helping people and I was like, "Wait, I don't know why I would feel like this because I've never wanted to do this for people before." It was like God finally was like, "Okay, I finally got you where you were
Wow.
supposed to be." Like
Yeah.
even all the times that I was helping people or getting involved in the music community or doing all the things I was doing, it was setting me up for being where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Because I get to use all of the things that I learned in my new story.
Yeah.
And so I help a lot with the church.
Yep.
Um I help a lot with my mom and her senior complex.
Yep.
We do bunch of fun
Yeah.
stuff
Birthday
there.
bashes. So
Yeah.
fun. I'm like,
I
yeah.
I do too much. I volunteer a lot of places. But I finally got involved with Brittany's nonprofit.
Yes, man.
And so I believe after a year,
Yeah.
I did step up and I asked if I could be involved with it because I started to feel more confident.
Yeah.
I started to feel like, okay, maybe I am supposed to be still helping and
Mm,
doing things for people. Because for a while there, I kind of just stopped doing anything
yeah.
outside of what my home needed or my mom needed,
Yeah.
or church needed. I was like, I don't wanna do anything else because I was
Mhm.
so afraid,
Yeah.
I was gonna do it wrong again.
Mm,
And, I do. I feel like God gave me, like, this feeling inside to help people, and I took off, and I was like, "Ooh, look at how cool I
Mhm.
am."
Yeah.
And instead, God was giving me this to go and help people and give
Mhm.
him the glory, and
Yeah.
instead, I didn't give him the glory, I gave myself the glory and the people around me the glory,
Mm.
that it had to be stripped from me
Mm.
because it was done in a way that
Yeah.
God wasn't getting the glory. But even now, the same people that were involved, like, not in the business part of it, but, like, in the music community part of it, they are very open to hearing the good word. And
Amen.
that's the Samaritan woman. She can speak of Jesus and speak of this new, like, this word, that the truth
Yeah.
that will save you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about anybody watching, but I do know that at one point in my life, I never believed any of this to be true.
Mm.
I did not believe,
Yeah.
like, the whole, like, "Oh, well, if you give God all the faith and the glory and this and that, then your whole world's gonna change and things are gonna
Yeah.
be peaceful and you're gonna have this peace inside that you never, blah, 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 blah." I mean, literally, I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Mhm.
And literally, I was that person, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Whatever." I promise it is
Mm.
100% true. Like,
Yeah.
I've actively put every effort into this
Yeah.
so that I could, like, weigh it out and say, "Okay, yes or no,"
Mhm.
and it's true. Like,
Wow.
every day I wake up, I put the effort in, I give the faith, I mostly the faith. It's the faith. It's the
Yeah.
faith that God is going to get me through the next day, whether there's no money, whether there's no food, whether there's,
Yeah.
a broken relationship.
Yeah.
I'm still going to get through it.
Mhm.
And every single thing, like, people have seen me go through so many things. They've seen me, like, change professions. They've seen me, become, a Christian
Yeah.
woman spreading Jesus after being at concerts, smoking weed, I mean, all of these things. And when it comes down to it, though, God is what took me out of that and saved me
Yeah.
and made me see that all I needed to do is just give him one chance. Like,
Yeah.
that's where it was, like, "Give me one chance." That's what I feel
Yeah.
like he said, "Melissa,
Well,
just give me a chance. A real chance.
yeah.
Not like one of those half butt chances, you know?" See?
Have but
See, aren't I so good?
chances.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of us put, like, effort in for a minute. "Oh, well, I read my Bible, like, twice this week. Oh, well, I went to church for a whole month, and nothing's happening."
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in it, like, 3 years now, and, like, I could say, "Well, this bad happened, and this bad happened, and this,"
Yeah.
but I'm standing here strong. I'm
Yeah.
standing here still telling people,
Yeah.
the good word and what Jesus has done for
Amen.
my life and where he's brought me,
Yeah.
today, like, it's this big. It's today I'm gonna be helping, at the church put some things together for Easter, and they actually, like, I was like, I need to get into the church," and they're like, "Oh, we'll just give you a key." And I'm like, "The church just said they'll just give me a key? Like, am I even worthy of something like this?" Like,
Mhm.
and so I question, where God had me before and where he has me now,
Yeah.
in the way that, I almost believe that I was supposed to be doing the things that I was doing before so that when the time was right, I was gonna be able to reach the right people.
Well, yeah, I also think it's like the fact of is God, he is using what was broken.
Yeah.
So he didn't discard
No.
all of that pain, all of that experience.
Yeah.
Like he is now using it for his good. It's not necessary. So like I don't want someone listening to be like, well, that's why I'm smoking weed right now, so I
No,
can
no.
liberate everyone later on down the road.
Yeah, I need my
No. Yeah,
testimony.
I need my testimony. Go sit somewhere. That is not what she's saying. So like
No.
that is
Right.
truly what I've heard too is like the importance of community. You can do this journey alone. Sure. Go ahead, try it. But even like you can't. You have to have community.
Yeah.
And you can't just expect that you're gonna walk into somewhere. Churches are full of, like, really broken people, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Like, we need
Yeah.
Jesus. So you have a place of full of needy people, some people who are pretending that they're not needy, some people
Yeah.
who are desperately needy and are you can see it in the way that they worship, in the way that they respond to the Lord. But if we are all there, we are going to hurt people.
Yeah.
The church is not perfect. So if you've been hurt by the church, I've been 3 times. I
Yeah.
literally thought about that today. I'm like, I've been hurt by 3 different churches, and I'm like, "Dang, God, I'm still standing. Look at
Yeah.
that." Because it's not dependent on the building, it's not dependent on the pastor.
Right.
I do have to know that God has me and that he's created community in community with himself. We talked about the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Unity,
Yeah.
community. So like he knows community.
Yeah.
And it is a gift to have that. And so to know Melissa is to know someone who will actually pray, who I now can call with very confidential information and say, I'm not gonna make it. And she'd be like, I promise you you are. That's the type of woman she is, and that's because of the Lord.
Yeah.
And what does this apply to us? Because when we surrender our heart to him, he is faithful to do the transformation. That is not on you. How do I leave this, Brittany? How do I turn my life? I've been living my life like this for forever. Does not matter. Like even in the story of the Samaritan woman, she lived a whole life. Could you imagine being married to 5 different people?
No. I've only been married once, and I'm like, "That's enough."
It's a lot going on there. So, like, if we can think about the pain that she might experience, the loneliness, she knew that when she encountered the Messiah, she heard about him. She knew he was coming, and when she actually got to experience him, and not only experience him, but it wasn't exclusive to just one demographic of people. It's not exclusive to one issue. Like your issue is not too big for God. That's
Yeah.
what's so beautiful. You could have lived 50, 60, 70 years one way. And when you realize that the great I am is calling you,
Yeah.
like your life does change when you respond with, yes, absolutely. I'm scared poopless. I don't know what this will look like. My
Yeah.
life is going to look different. And I always say I'm crazy because I live my life so differently because I know without him, I can't make it. And I desire to spread the
Yeah.
gospel. And how I spread the gospel, I'm just very honest about the
Yeah.
gospel and I
Right.
want people to know. Okay, so because we can go like 2 more hours because Melissa has story
Can't you guys just
for
watch this for a whole 24
days. I
hours?
know. I was like, if we go, I can split it in 2, and I still might split it in 2, but we'll see. My last question that I have for Melissa is so obviously the podcast is called Heart on the Altar. And we talk a lot about like when we lay it all out, like you're literally an act like you did that and you do that repeatedly. But how would you explain your heart, their heart on the altar? How would you explain that? Like, how would you, in your own words, what does heart on the altar mean to you?
You couldn't have asked me that, like, told me you were gonna ask this so I
I
could have, like, some,
know.
like,
Actually, I thought
beautiful
about it the
thing.
whole
Like,
podcast. I was like, I
I
should
probably
have
should have
told
warned
her
her.
that
No,
I'm going to
I'm just
ask
kidding.
her this.
Alright, so heart on the altar. Um, it's just staying surrendered, staying open,
I'm snapping right now.
staying at that place,
Yeah.
because the minute you think that, "Oh, I can step out of this," or "I can do something on my own," that's when you can't.
Yeah.
So, heart on the altar is to stay surrendered every single day
Amen.
and to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Did I pass?
Literally, you passed.
Yes.
You passed
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I tell all the time, it's not just a one-time choice, it's an everyday choice.
Yeah.
Literally
There's no way. I mean, like 1 week of not doing it, I could be like at a concert somewhere, like smoking bong hits. And sorry, you guys, but that it's true. And I have to be very, very,
I tell them all the time, I could actually be a monster if I'm not. Like, people
yeah.
don't believe that, "You're so sweet." I'm like, "Yeah, because the Holy Spirit shuts my mouth."
Yeah. Okay. So when we went, I just want to go back real quick. When you said, when we were talking about, like, when I said, "Oh, I think I had to go through all of those things so
Mhm,
that I
mhm.
could get here." May, maybe what I meant is, in order to go through where I am now, I had to go through those certain paths to get here because
Mhm.
I was in such a crazy part of my life where I really didn't care about anybody. I didn't care
Mhm.
about their feelings, about their thoughts. I would say anything, I would hurt people's feelings. I was very, very just whatever. It was about me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that God could have taken me from from that stage and placed me at New Life Church.
No, no, yeah. You wouldn't have yeah.
I don't think it would have worked the way God wanted it to work.
Yeah.
God needed me to go down the path of learning how to help people, learning how to love people differently, learning how to see people, learning how to open my heart to different
Mhm.
ways and different things. Then I had to lose everything so
Yeah.
that then I was humbled to where then my heart was open and available to be able to see the goodness and the blessings that were
Mhm.
being given to me when he
Yeah.
placed me at New Life Church.
He had to break you. He had to wring out what was actually in your heart and say, like, "You need me, Melissa.
Absolutely.
Like,
Like,
you need me."
yeah, there's no way I could have went from that point to this point
No way.
and been where I am right now. He's like, "Nope, we're gonna."
Yeah.
Believe me, it hurt a lot, but,
Mhm.
um, I would say right now, I would do it all over again
Yeah.
to be where I am right now.
Oh, and isn't that crazy? I always say, like, it was so much pain in leaving my dream, if that's what it felt like,
Yeah,
leaving everything behind because he was calling me. I didn't understand it. I felt like absolutely psycho insane. I literally am like, "But God, you can restore anything. You can do anything."
yeah.
And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Yes.
Hello,
Hello, come
do
on.
it.
Move it, buddy."
Yeah, why are you being so slow?
But yeah. She says what I'm
All those
thinking.
hours,
All the
well,
all the
all
prayers.
the
Yep,
prayers, all
yep.
the
All the
years, you
prayers,
know?
everything, all the
He's
hard
like,
work
"I'm not,
I
because
put
it's only been
in.
1 second to me."
Literally, I think about it now and I'm like, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Jeff is our pastor, and so obviously he's fantastic, okay? But whenever we talk, I always say, like, if 2022 didn't happen, I would never be here right now.
yeah,
I wouldn't be the mom I am to my kids. I wouldn't be the wife I am to my husband. I just wouldn't. I would have been too busy to miss. I would have missed God. And this isn't everyone's story, but it was my story. I'm a workaholic.
yeah,
I love doing God's work, but I was doing God's work without him. Exactly what you're doing.
yeah,
You're doing the loving the part. You're seeing people.
yeah,
But when we do it without Christ, it does look different.
yeah,
And it never is filling. You never felt like you do enough. Now I actually am like, I'll be chilling. I have a lot of stuff on my plate. I do a lot of things. Yet, I've never felt so rested in the Lord.
yeah,
I've never felt I love what you said is, like, be slow to actually pray before I do something. I never did that before.
yeah,
I prayed on my way to say, "Lord, bless this, because 'cause
yeah.
I'm about to go make myself
Some money.
some money. I'm
Yeah,
about to make myself famous. I'm gonna
yeah,
do all these things," and none of that ever filled me. But now I feel so fulfilled teaching God's word from a large church to what feels like, "Oh, wow, okay, I know everybody's name, everyone knows me." I
yeah,
don't like and watching God grow people and real community. Angel and I, like, we just talked about it last week. We've never experienced community the way we've experienced it right now.
absolutely not.
And what I can say, that's because we are seeking after Christ,
Mhm.
and he has allowed us and placed us here, and we trust our leadership, right? We give it all. We
Yeah,
serve. We are even when we don't want to, we show up, and we have just seen God continue to show up for us. And so all this being said, right? Why does this matter for you? Whatever your story might look like, and maybe God's calling you to leave something. Maybe he's asking you to work less hours. Maybe he's requiring you to get off your butt and do something. Maybe he's telling you to sign off of social media. Maybe he's calling you to start reading your Bible. And he's calling all y'all to read your Bible, okay? But maybe you feel a strong pull to say, like, Brittany, I really feel like God's calling me to do this. Or maybe it's just trusting in him and putting your faith and your hope and your accepting the gift of salvation from him, wherever you might be. Like, this is your wake-up call that whatever your story might look like, a business professional, I didn't even know you almost lived in a tent. Like, I'm like, dang.
No, I lived in it.
That's I love that so much. I'm like, not obviously for you, but I love, like, the night and day.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm like, what God can do, people will often think they can't be redeemed from that place.
Yeah.
Like, your story touches business professionals, it touches from the attic, it touches from mom, blended family, like, we didn't even get started on some of the
Yeah.
there's so much
I
in
know.
your
I
story.
was trying to tell you guys all the things, but it's been such a crazy life and a crazy story, and God
Yeah,
has just he's just been there all of the time,
yeah,
like, and now that I am in this place in my life in this season with God where I can actually like hear him and know, like,
mhm.
discern what it is he wants me to be doing. I feel like I just my brain went
It's okay, it's 'cause I coughed. It's alright. That's our cue. That's the Lord
That's a cute.
saying, "Wrap it up,
Yeah.
ladies. We
Yeah,
could keep
Demir's
going."
probably like, "Where is it? This is like
Yes.
old times,
Oh my
No.
goodness, yeah, I didn't even notice the time. So, anyways, guys, I hope that you loved this episode, and if you didn't, I don't care because I really thoroughly enjoyed this episode. And I say I don't care, but I kinda care, you know? So, like, share, subscribe, share this. Melissa will tag her. I know she doesn't want to be known, but she is very encouraging. She's funny. She posts videos. She's also like a gardener. I kill every plant I have. She does not. But not only that, is that I hope that you're inspired not by who she is, but who she found. And she found Jesus Christ and it completely transformed her life. So that is our desire for you. So, what I always ended on, a heart on the altar is a heart that is fully his, nothing withheld, and is all for his glory. We'll see you guys next week. I mean, I'll see you guys next week. Okay. Bye.
Bye.